Welcome to What's the Story Dublin, the official Dublin City Council podcast with me, your host, Deirdre Malumbi. This podcast deep dives into the work of all the moving parts that make up Dublin City Council. It also shares news of the Council's latest initiatives and exciting events. In today's episode, we're looking at smart cities. I'm delighted to be joined today by Jamie Cudden, who is the Smart City Lead of Dublin City Council. Jamie, you're very welcome.
Thank you. Great to be here today.
Jamie, before we begin, can you tell me a little bit about how you came to work for Dublin City Council and a little about your current role?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I've started working in Dublin City Council about 2007, but before that my background was in tech and data, and it was I ended up working in London for a couple of years, so was delighted to come back to Dublin. I'm from Dublin, so it was a great opportunity to make a difference, hopefully, to Dublin being a worker here, so yeah, so I've been 17 years. The last 10 years I've been leading our Smart City Technology Innovation Programme, which is super exciting. So it's great to be here to talk about that today.
It sounds like you're the absolutely perfect person to talk about all things Smart City. Can you first of all tell me, Jamie, to the totally uninitiated, what exactly is Smart City? How old is it? What is its kind of purpose, I suppose?
Yeah, I mean, Smart City really is looking at, I suppose, technology, particularly looking at new and emerging technologies. And if you think about the last decade, it's just incredible the pace of change around how we use mobile devices and just technology and data everywhere. It's just phenomenal, like the pace, even with some of the conversations around artificial intelligence now. I think people are just like, are we living in the future now? It's just crazy. It's like sci-fi movies almost. But from a city council perspective, I was very fortunate about 10 years ago to get working with our chief executive and to look at, so much is happening out there in our communities with industry. But what's the city doing? How are we kind of making sure that we're navigating that change to ensure that it benefits our citizens and communities and delivers better services? So it's really that intersection, technology, and how do we use it in a way that benefits what we do as a council, but also how people live, work and visit the city.
And Smart City as a department kind of touches on so many different areas like the environment, tourism, etc. Can you talk a bit about how some of the ways in which people can see the kind of activities of Smart City, people who live and work and visit Dublin?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think a lot of what Smart City is about is about data, and it's about collecting data that can help us manage our city more effectively. It can help us, make better decisions around environment, around planning, around so many different things that benefit or impact our city. And, really the technology, it's about kind of at its core, really, it's about getting this better data, whether it's through sensors. And there's been a massive kind of increase in this thing called Internet of Things over the years, where you can put small sensors around your city to measure, where the rainfall's hitting hardest, where the traffic is more congested, where people are cycling, and also the air quality, the noise in our city. And can you imagine the power of being able to bring all that data together, and from a city council to be able to manage that and say, well, actually, where is working, where's not working, how can we improve things? Are our projects making a difference? Are they getting more people cycling? Are they reducing congestion, etc.? So that data is at the heart of a smart city. And I think smart city is about leveraging the technology to get access to better data to improve how we manage our city.
So when you gather this data, I suppose, would that kind of inform the work of other kind of sections and departments across Dublin City Council, or is that more to inform, I suppose, your own incentives, say, as a department?
No, I mean, the Smart City unit is really there to support the organisation. I guess what we do is we offer this kind of bridge between, the external, tech sector in Dublin. So we have world-class leading tech companies with Google, Google Town up in Docklands, massive. You've got Microsoft, all these global companies hubbed in Dublin. You've got wonderful startups and you've got amazing research centres. From a city perspective, we have all these challenges that we have to address. And we provide this intersection between, well, we know what the problems are. Could we bring together really smart people to help us solve those problems and test and trial these solutions? So over the last 10 years, probably the early stages of the programme, it was kind of seen, does the tech work, and what's this going to do and how can we understand it better? Now it's got much more mainstream. So we have all these projects and pilots across the city and prototypes in different districts working with this ecosystem. And then we're working with business owners to say, hang on a sec, this is new tech. We don't want to buy old tech. this technology can make a huge difference. It can tell us when the bins are full so we can collect them more effectively. It can, tell us the river levels in real time in a flood instance. It can tell us when the gullies are blocked. It's really powerful what we can do, and we can do it at a fraction of the cost to what we were able to do back 10, 20 years ago, but also at scale. And it's at scale that makes it really exciting. So really what we're doing is we're working with business owners across all different departments. We're helping them understand the potential and the power of this technology, creating projects that can show them, how it works. And then we're trying to scale that within the organization. So really, really exciting stuff. And it's kind of a bit of upskilling, it's a bit of change management. It's less about the tech, actually. No, it's about kind of, bringing people on that journey to show them the art of the possible.
I'd love to understand a little bit more about how Smart City works in terms of its setup, because there are kind of different Smart City areas. Can you talk a bit about that, and why is Smart City kind of structured that way? Yeah,
so that was kind of a conscious decision at the start, and probably has kind of helped drive success across the programme. So at the start, and we were working with, our chief executive was like, we're probably not going to be able to solve everything in one go. And it's, we're trying to bring the organisation along can be slow. And then we're like, there's these areas in the city where there's incredible investments in technology, and there's incredible companies and communities there that maybe we could work with to maybe go a little bit faster. So the Docklands was the first big opportunity. Yeah. And, you got, I said, the Googles, you got all the big tech, you've got so much new infrastructure, billions of euro investment around the Docklands. You just have to walk around it. It's so inspiring to see the new buildings, the new look and feel of modern Dublin. So we created, I suppose, a partnership with Trinity College Dublin, their research centre for future networks and connectivity. And we hired a couple of roles and built this program called Smart Docklands. And it was about bringing infrastructure and projects and pilots quicker to that area around next generation connectivity, looking at projects such as how are drones going to impact our city, also what's the potential of when you put these sensors out in the street. So that was the kind of the area that we started on, and that was great because we're able to bring people to Docklands from within the council and say, here's the tech. We're not just saying it's in Singapore or it's in all these other cities around the world. It's here locally happening now at a smaller scale, but like you could be part of this and you could help scale this in other parts of the city. So Docklands was the first. It's got great recognition internationally around what we've been able to achieve. We've even got like a model of all the buildings in a 3D format in a gaming engine that you can actually walk around with a headset on and actually explore the urban fabric. It's actually amazing. Look at what new developments might look like. So we're really pushing the boundaries in that district. So that inspired us then to actually create other districts across the city. So Docklands was kind of environment and sustainability and next generation networks. We then looked at an area in D8 where we were able to work with the digital hub and all the hospital cluster there and say, what about if we focus on things like health and wellness, working with this amazing cluster of the new Children's Hospital, St. James's, you got NCAD, you got real innovation there. So again, a program where we pilot projects, we work with local stakeholders, and we show the art of the possible. And the third area we have is in DCU, Dublin City University. And that's a really cool one because the campus is kind of almost like a micro city. And the great thing about the campus, they can move really fast because they don't have to get permissions from the city council. So they've been testing things like autonomous scooters and delivery bots and all sorts of stuff that you're kind of like, do we really want this in the city or not? But let the campus kind of try it out and see what it's like and maybe learn from it and see what the opportunity is. They also built an amazing 3D model of the campus, which is helping people navigate the campus now, new students. You can do it on your phone. It's amazingly interactive, but it's also for autism friendly as well. So you can see where the busyness is, where the noisy places are. And for a lot of people, just having that information about before they go somewhere can make a huge difference to be more comfortable how you engage with places. So I think, we got some cool stuff happening with great partnerships and creating real impact.
It's amazing. Like the work that you guys are doing at Smart City, it's really informing everything from planning and transportation. You mentioned environment there. Waste management was something you touched on earlier. Is there any one area that Smart City is kind of predominantly involved with, or does it kind of try to, I suppose, cover everything across the board?
Yeah, I mean, we could across so much. Again, it kind of comes back to we're investing a lot more in technology across the organisation. We're gathering more data than ever within the organisation. But I think we're smart cities where we're creating that kind of niche is we're actually creating partnerships with companies like Google and Strava and other companies that collect data across cities. Another company called Ookla that measure the quality of the mobile network, where you are at any point in time. We're finding great potential by working with these companies to give us better insights around things like mobile coverage. How can we make sure everyone's got great connectivity? Our active travel program, we've got a partnership with Bloomberg and a partnership with Healthy Cities, where we've got funding to actually look at how do we better measure all these cycling investments in the city. So we've got a great partnership with our active travel team, and we're pulling in data from Strava, from Google, from pedestrian counters, from cycle counters, and we've created a dashboard that allows us for the first time to see in one view what the impact of some of these schemes are before and afterwards. And that was just recently successful in a Global Smart City Award in Barcelona. So really excited about these type of partnerships and projects for the city.
One of the projects that Smart City has been involved with for 2024 is the portal. We have to talk about that because that has been such a huge success for Dublin City. Can you tell us a bit about that, how it got started?
Yeah, so firstly, 2024 was a huge year for us around the Smart City team because we're European Capital of Smart Tourism. So about this time last year, we were successful in our bid and our pitch. And one of the ideas that we had was, what if we could bring this kind of concept where we could bring technology and art and connect people and cities through a physical structure with technology. And that was the portal. So we kind of promised that we'd explore this idea as part of our pitch. We won European Capital of Smart Tourism. I was like, oh shit, now we're going to have to deliver this, So we were really excited around the portal in Vilnius in Lithuania, which was launched during COVID. It connected Dublin and Vilnius, and during COVID when people couldn't travel, it was huge. It was this kind of a big circular. I think hopefully everyone knows what the portal looks like at this stage. I don't have to explain. A circular kind of art sculpture. I think it's about 2 meters high and wide, and it actually has a real-time live stream from one city to another. Some people say, "Oh, is it just a Zoom? Like it's kind of it's kind of boring stuff." But actually, I went over to visit the team in Vilnius, and it was something very emotional around how you connect with people and you can kind of wave. Like these days you walk past people, you don't interact. When you go to the portal, you wave, you smile, you see new people from different cultures and places. I thought it just resonated really nicely. And we were very fortunate. We brought the idea back to our chief executive and some of the management team. And, we bring ideas the whole time and sometimes they go, oh, that's a cool idea, but maybe just not now. And they thought it was great. And they were like, oh, let's just do it, And that started on course, probably what was one of the biggest projects we've ever done in the City Council from a global perspective. We had a roller coaster. I can't deny the first week or two I didn't get much sleep, but it just went completely viral. Even before it launched, it went viral. Millions of impressions, views. Within the first week, I think there was about 5 billion impressions globally. Probably everyone in the world knows what the portal is. I have people from China, from every country in the world. You meet them at events or conferences in Dublin or abroad, and they're like, the first thing they ask you is like, the portal, that was a cool project,
as long as they're not asking about leprechauns, I'm happy.
Not leprechauns, yeah. But it was an amazing reflection of people and society, and I think one of the things about it was that it was very much an art project as well as a technology project. There was a fantastic headline in Wired magazine. It was long. Twitter is dead. Long live the portal. And it just resonated really well with me. That was the crazy thing. It felt like I wasn't in this reality of this world that week or two, because every newspaper in the world was on the Tonight Show, CNN, every USA Today, every Guardian, every newspaper you could think of. Even in Australia, we were getting requests for interviews from nearly every country in the world, like radio, TV. We had crews from mainstream US TV coming over doing features on it. It was just, even Netflix were looking to do a documentary. It's just, it was just, it felt like, you were in a kind of a dream or a nightmare, whichever way you want to do. And you're going to wake up and this was just not real. But it was. And, one thing that really inspired me was, despite all the issues we had at the start, what was really great was internally within Dublin City Council, everyone got together and said, we're not going to let this fail. and we're going to get behind, the team like ourselves to actually make sure that we address the issues and keep this going. We're not going to be beaten down by the negativity in the media. And it's completely taken off since then. We've had 500,000 people have visited the portal, or 500,000 in the first 7 months. We're now connected to Philadelphia. There's a whole new wave of cities coming on board the next couple of months, and it's just a project to be really proud of from a city council perspective. I'm personally working with some of the guys in our tourism team, Barry and Nolik. It's something we reflect on as a real achievement, and something like how lucky were we to be able to deliver this project and have the backing of our chief executive and some of our management team to allow us to do that and be brave. I mean, there's not many cities that would have been brave to do something like this. So yeah, it's cool, really, really great, and I hope a lot of people enjoy it and get to experience it. And we're to decide now whether we're going to keep it long term. So that's another conversation. Yeah.
It was an absolutely amazing accomplishment and definitely one of the highlights for 2024. Can you tell me a bit about some of the other projects that you guys might have been involved with in the last year or so?
Yeah, so I think at the start I talked about a really important role for the city council is that in terms of new and emerging technologies, that we're kind of independent. We're not commercial. We're not trying to drive revenue and profit. So when these new technologies we see them emerging, we have to play a really important role in terms of how we navigate them. And the challenge is the regulation and policy is so far behind. So I'll give you some examples of big programs that we're really we're driving now, and we're really going to be expanding into the future. So our drones program, we're working like 3-4 years around that, where we saw a huge increase in the number of departments using drone technologies, whether it's for fire safety or building control or environmental monitoring or waste management. We just saw like a huge growth in that, and yet we didn't. There's
a huge fascination in that, but also I suppose like concerns around
completely.
A bit of both.
So we're kind of okay. Well, how can we make sure from a city council perspective we can grab the opportunity to deliver better services? So we've set up a centralised drone unit. We also developed a strategy, but in parallel with that, people have concerns around privacy, around safety and security around drones, because if it's something up in the sky, you don't know what it's doing there, why it's there, should it be there in the first place. So we're playing a really important role internationally, I think, around drones. We've just set up a partnership with the Irish Aviation Authority, Maynooth University and ourselves to actually be one of the first cities in the world to develop a framework for how do we get the balance right between the use of drones. And you've got companies like Mana. People in Dublin probably don't realise this, but in some areas, Blanchardstown, Balbriggan, people are ordering coffees and takeaway with 3-minute delivery times. Now that's kind of scary in itself. And these companies, have big plans to scale across not just all of Dublin City. It's kind of targeted where you have a garden and, a little piece of string drops down with your package. But, there's going to be a lot of competition for this low airspace. We have another company, Wing, who are part of Alphabet, Google company that do medical deliveries, and they're working with a couple of hospitals just in the suburbs of Dublin. So there's incredible opportunity for emergency deliveries, medical supplies, and we were keen to support that. So we have to get the balance right. We have to make sure it's aligned with citizens' concerns, and we have to make sure that we don't go so far ahead that people turn against this technology. A bit like electric scooters around the world, they get dumped in streets. People didn't have policies and regulation, and now they're just being taken out of cities. Maybe in Dublin we were lucky there that we didn't move too fast. The same is true for us. We have a big program around AI, generative AI. Now this is going to be a complete game changer for how we work and also how we manage information and manage data within the organisations. So everything from council reports to freedom of information to council questions to procurement. Generative AI is going to make a huge difference. So rather than us kind of push ahead too fast and make decisions that could be right or wrong, we've set up a governance and a kind of a steering group headed by Eileen Quinlivan. But also we've created a partnership with academia, with a research centre. Again, we're very good at that. We like to create industry and academic kind of partnerships to make sure that we're getting the best advice and guidance rather than us just kind of going it alone and just thinking this could work or this couldn't work. So we're creating and we're just announcing it in January, a generative AI sandbox for local government. Again, one of the first local authorities in Europe to do this. And it's about creating that safe space to find what the right opportunities are, work with really bright, talented researchers, postdocs, PhD students in colleges like Trinity and others, and actually make sure that we're going in the right direction as an organisation. So we've loads of that kind of stuff in other areas, digital twins. So actually digital twin, everyone's like, what the hell is that all about? But think about, creating a digital version of your city and thinking about putting all that data that we talked about at the start into that model, and think about, PlayStation games like gaming engines where you've got 3D models, and put that and create that replica of your city. All of a sudden then you have a way to engage, interact, to see what the data is doing, and to communicate with citizens and residents around future plans for your city. We're partnered with Google, and a company called Bentley now has been one of the first cities in the world to test some of these technologies next year. So I'm really, really excited about that as well. So it's all cool stuff anyway. Really great city to work in, and great to have the support from our management team and leadership to actually say Dublin needs to be at the forefront, and needs to be working with these companies that are on our doorstep, and these really bright, talented researchers and startups. The big piece now over the next couple of years is how do we embed all this innovation and learning within the organisation and kind of grow the products and the applications and the investments into something that can really make a difference to our citizens, communities and our services,
Absolutely. It sounds like we have so much to look forward to in terms of kind of future ventures from Smart City. I'm wondering, Jamie, just to kind of wrap things up, is there anything that we're missing from our discussion about Smart City today that you'd love people to kind of know and be more aware of? Yeah,
I mean, just to sum up, I guess another project or program that I'm super proud of is through our partnership with Trinity College and the Connect Research Centre and Docklands. We learned after the first couple of years, doing all that experimentation in Docklands, that maybe one of the biggest challenges is not the technology really at all. It's around upskilling people, whether it's communities or whether it's, people who work in Dublin City Council. So, and we're kind of like, a lot of people, talk about the future and this is going to be 10, 15, 20 years down the line. And we were like, well, the future's now, the tech is here. So we created this program, and it's got a lot of global attention now, called Academy of the Near Future. And basically we have a whole team working. One of the parts of the programs is working with transition year students in schools across Dublin City. We've worked with over 1,000 students around upskilling and teaching them around the potential of technology to shape their futures, but also how they can use that to engage better with the city and how we plan for the future of the city. We also run a program for local authority staff under Academy of the Near Future, where over the last period we've trained over 200 staff in generative AI, just basics. There's such an appetite for learning, and I think what I've learned is that if we can educate and upskill our staff to actually understand where this is going, what the potential is, it means that they're likely to be buying solutions or engaging with these companies over the next period of time with their budgets or their plans. If they don't know, they're not going to buy it, they're not going to implement it. So that's the most important thing, is awareness and bringing people along on the journey. So I'm really kind of the Academy of the Near Future piece and how we drive that in partnership with Trinity College, I think is great. And I think that's something we're going to really scale up over the next year or so. Absolutely. You can never kind of underestimate the importance and the power of like the education and training bit, Yeah. That's brilliant. Thank you so much for talking to me today, Jamie. I know we've only kind of scratched the surface of everything that Smart City is involved with. Yeah. We could talk for so much longer. So we might have to have you on again in the future to talk about more of Smart City's incentives and projects. But for now, we really appreciate you taking the time to speak with us today. So thank you so much. That's great. Thank you. And thanks again to today's guest, Jamie Cudden. I'd also like to extend my thanks to our audio engineer and editor, Robert Fay. This podcast was produced by myself, Deirdre Malumbi, and Michael Ryan, and recorded in the Central Library Studio. Be sure to spread the word if you're enjoying What's the Story Dublin, and to like and subscribe for future episodes. Slán go fóill.